Good morning to all of you. Welcome to economics class of class 11th of our St. Lawrence Public Senior Secondary School. So before we begin our class, you already know that what you need to do, what we need to do, Gayatri Mantra, of course. So everybody be in Gyan Mudra and be ready for the Gayatri Mantra with proper dedication. All right. Okay. So welcome back everyone once again. So let's start today's class. Can anybody tell me that what we had done in the last class yesterday? Which topics did we do in the last class? Just tell me that what were the topics which we had covered in the previous class. All right. So Ambika, over to you.
So we have discussed about different kinds of economic,
Okay.
like market economics, uh, centralized economic, and
Mixed
market
economy.
mixed economics. Yes,
Hmm.
sir.
So
So in
three types of just mute yourself once again. Thank you so much. So three types of economies we studied yesterday, right? Capitalist economy, socialist economy, and mixed economy. When we say capitalist economy, which means everything is in the control of the private sector, that is the free economy, free from the intervention of government. That is the free economy, free from the intervention of government, and that is a capitalist economy. Centrally planned or socialist economy, the economy which is in the complete control of government, where government has the full control, complete control, and government is taking all the important decisions in that type of economy. The third, Mixed economy. Mixed economy means which is the hybrid or the mixture of both of the above economies, capitalist as well as socialist. Like in the mixed economy, we have private sector also working in the economy. Side by side, we have the public sector enterprises as well, government enterprises as well. Government is taking care of the public sector enterprises, which belongs to the government, and private is taking care of its enterprises, private sector enterprises, which belongs to the private sector. But government somewhere have a little control over the private sector also, a little control, because government needs to make some rules and regulations, laws and legislations, and every private sector has to work according to the laws and legislation set by the government. All right, I hope I'm clear with this. Then we discussed the difference of microeconomics and macroeconomics. The difference of microeconomics and macroeconomics, where we discussed that the microeconomics is a small branch of economics and macroeconomics, whereas macroeconomics is the major branch of economics, a big branch of economics. The word micro, where we say MICRO, where I stands for individual in micro, which means in microeconomics we are going to study individual behavior. We are going to study the individual behavior. Individual behavior means we are studying individual demand, individual supply, price of a commodity, about a consumer, about a producer, which means we are talking about one unit here or a single unit in micro. But when we talk about the macroeconomics, then the A letter in macro, MACRO, A letter in macro refers to aggregate, which means here we are talking about the aggregates of facts, aggregates of various variables. For example, we are studying about aggregate demand. In micro, we were studying individual demand, one demand, but here we are studying aggregate demand, aggregate supply, aggregate output means production, aggregate saving, national income means we are studying the economy as a whole concept in macro. So we can simply say that micro is a narrow concept, and according to this individual and aggregate behavior, we can point out this micro is that branch of economics which is a narrow concept. But when we talk about the macro base, that is the branch of economics which has a wider concept. So micro is having a narrow concept, whereas macro is having a major, wider concept. All right. Then we can say that microeconomics is also known as price theory, because in the microeconomics we are studying about mainly the equilibrium price. Equilibrium price means where the price where the demand and supply equate each other. Now let me tell you in a very short, because this topic equilibrium price, will be getting a complete chapter in future on this, but let me tell you in a short way. For example, a commodity at price 10, 20 units are being demanded by the consumer, and 20 units as a seller I'm able to sell as well, and I'm ready to sell. Yani ki 20 rupees is the equilibrium price, where the demand and the supply are equal. The consumer is ready to buy the commodities at 20 rupees, and even the seller is also ready to sell the commodities at rupees 20 only. He is happy, he is willing to sell, and consumer is willing to buy. That is known as equilibrium price. So in microeconomics, we come to know about the equilibrium price of a commodity. That is why it is known as a price theory. But when we talk about the macroeconomics, here we are finding out the equilibrium income. We are finding out the equilibrium income that you will be studying in class 12th, where we'll be getting a chapter based on this concept, determination of income and employment, where we will learn that how income is determined, income equilibrium is determined as a macro, in a macro as a whole. All right. So ultimately we can say that these are the two branches of economics, where micro is a small branch and macro is a large branch. All right. Moving further, as you can see, economic problems and its emergence. Emergence means how it starts, from where, what are the causes to start or to have the economic problem. We simply say economic problem is problem of choice. Economic problem is problem of making choice. Problem of making choice means, problem of making choice means where economic problem arises because of scarcity of resource, as we have covered. The three major portion are there, the three major causes are there which give rise to economic problem, which is problem of choice. And what are these three major problems? Let me tell you what are the three major causes. The problem is very much clear to us, right? The problem is very much clear to us that the problem is problem of choice. This is very much clear to us that the problem is problem of choice. The question arises, जो question आता है उसके अंदर वही आता है कि if the problem is problem of choice, why does it arise? It arises due to the three reasons, where the main reason which I have found, and even which is the root cause of all problems for making choice, is scarcity of resources. Scarcity of resources or limited availability of resources. This is the root cause of every problem, scarcity of resource, or basically limited availability of resource, because resources are limited in nature. Because resources are limited in nature. Because of the scarcity, and along with these resources can be used in an alternative ways. See, alternative ways, alternative uses means the resource can be used in various ways. For example, if I say 1,000 rupee, I gave you an example earlier as well, you can use in various ways. You can buy the chocolates from 1,000 rupees. Even you can purchase some clothes. You can buy your stationery items. You can buy your food, or any other commodity or even service. Like you can get your mobile phone recharged. So ultimately the resources have alternative uses. एक तो scarce है, 1,000 rupees ही है, ऊपर से alternative uses हैं उसके. Alternative uses means can be used in various ways. And ऊपर से third एक और problem, that human wants are unlimited. As we all know, human wants are unlimited, never ending wants. And because of the human wants are unlimited, the problem of choice arises. Because out of this alternative resource, out of the limited resource which can be used in various ways, I have to make a choice that which is my most urgent want, and which most urgent want I want to have fulfilled at this stage. This is called as economic problem, and these three are the causes of economic problem. I hope this is clear till now. Any doubts, please write in the chat box. If you have any doubt, or if you don't have any doubt, then also write in the chat box, so that I'll be moving towards my next slide and next question, because till now we had already covered. So that was the recapitulation part. That was the recapitulation part. Okay. Now my question to you all. Okay, Ankita is asking to repeat equilibrium. Ankita, equilibrium is a stage which is the position of rest, where we say that the demands are equals to supply. That is the price equilibrium. For example, I am demanding, as a consumer, I am demanding 100 units. All right. And as a seller, he is ready to sell the commodities, 100 commodities at ₹20. And also I don't face any problem in purchasing all these 100 commodities at 20 rupees. That means 20 rupees is the price equilibrium, where both demand and supply are equal to each other. All right. So my question to you all, tell me what are the two features of resources in economy? Very important question, have already come in 1 mark in boards. what are the two features of resources that are found in an economy? Tell me, what are the two features of resources? Who is going to tell me? You can raise the hands or can write in the chat box, please. I will unmute. Okay, Siddhi. Siddhi, I would like to ask you only. So raise your hand virtually so that I can unmute you. Okay, Siddhi. You are unmuted, Siddhi.
The features of resources are that resources are limited in nature and they have alternative uses.
Resources are limited in nature and we have alternative uses. Good.
Uses.
Okay. So can you tell me what are the two features of human wants that you see?
Human wants are never ending and they are unlimited in nature.
Okay. Unlimited and never ending are almost the same point. Can you tell me some other point? If you know, otherwise I'll be telling, no problem.
No, sir, I do not know.
Okay, mute yourself. I'll be explaining. As Siddhi told, the features of resources. That first feature, resources are limited available. That is scarcity of resources. Very good, Siddhi. The second point also she told that resources have alternative uses. Very good. That means one resource can be used in various ways. So these are the two features of resources you must remember. You all must remember. All right. But if I talk about one, I think 2 or 3 times this question also have come in exam for 1 mark in boards when this book was in class 12th. That what are the two features of human wants that we see? The very first want we already know, human wants are unlimited, which means these wants are never ending. The second feature we can say, they can't never be fully satisfied. Very good, Khushi Arya. Human wants can never be fully satisfied, which means if one want is fulfilled, the other one arises. If other one is fulfilled, the next one arises. And this thing goes on. This thing continues and goes on, which is no doubt one of the problem. That's why, and also one more feature you can learn about human wants. We can bifurcate our wants. Human wants can easily be bifurcated also. How? Yes, of course, we can divide that this is my most urgent want and this want I can postpone. So that can be bifurcated as well. So we have to see to it also. All right. So moving further to the next slide. Different types of economies and their difference. So today we are learning the difference between these three different types of economies on various bases. So let us talk about the means of production or ownership. Who holds the ownership among these three economies? So if I tell you about the capitalist economy, then definitely private ownership lies there. Ownership is in the hands of private owners already. I already told you. Socialist economy, the complete ownership is in the hands of government, like China, which is the modern socialist economy. Then if we talk about the mixed economy, the private and the government, both the countries, both the basically ownership lies in the economy. The private ownership also and the government or public ownership also lies in the economy. Then next, on the basis of economic motive, of course, in the capitalist economy, we have the motive of profit. We have profit motive. In the socialist economy, we have social welfare, because capitalist may everything is a private. Then definitely the private person is going to have a profit motive only. He would not be working for reducing poverty or making employment opportunities only. No ways. He would be just doing the work on the basis of, you know, He would be doing the work because he wants to have more profit. Then in the socialist one, because governments hold the complete power, so social welfare. And in the mixed economy, social welfare and profit motive both. All right. So on the basis of third one, that is solution to central problems. Central problems we will do after this topic only. So central problems solution. Of course, in the capitalist economy, all the problems are being solved by taking out the market demand for demand and supply, market forces of demand and supply through price mechanism. In the socialist one, all the problems are solved by the central planning authority only, which is held by the government. Government solves all the problem, that means. And in the mixed economy, all the problems are solved by both. Kuch cases mein government and kuch cases mein private themselves. Now, what is the government's role? What is the government's role in capitalist economy? The government's role in the capitalist economy is that government is somewhere regulating through internally only. It is having internal role only. In the socialist one, complete control hai government ka. Mixed ke andar limited control is there. Then on the basis of, if I talk about the freedom, so capitalism we have a complete freedom. In the socialist we have lack of freedom, and in the mixed economy limited freedom is there. So that is all about the three economics we have already covered. So I have already shared this PPT with you all last night, and hopefully you all have seen that, and definitely you will be revising the concept from the PPTs also along with the books. Now comes the next question, the very important question of this chapter, which is of course important for exam also. Not only for exam, but it is actually a realistic approach, important for our economies. That is central problems in an economy. Central problems. Why it is being said that these are the central problems? Central problems means these problems you will find out in every economy, whether that is a developed economy like America, whether that is a developing economy like India, or whether it is a underdeveloped economy like Bangladesh. So ultimately central problems are everywhere. Everywhere we have the central problems. That is, these problems are everywhere. That is why we call them the central problems. It is not that if America is a developed nation, American economy will not face any problem. Abhi ke time pe to you all are aware of COVID-19, and as well you all are aware of the situation of America as well. Britain, Italy. ये सब की what they people are saying about their economies, that we have a fear that our economy may fall. They are saying, because they also have seen some problems. They also have seen some problems in their economy. And also India is facing problem these days. Already 20 lakhs crores from GDP. The government has given the package for investing in India for upcoming 5 years. तो ऐसा नहीं है that problem will be faced by only underdeveloped nation, or the economic problem will be faced by only underdeveloped and developing nation. It is also faced by the developed nation. So problems are everywhere, but how we tackle the problem, please listen to it very carefully. Problems are everywhere, but how we tackle the problems make us developed and other developing or underdeveloped. प्रॉब्लम तो हर जगह है, लेकिन उस प्रॉब्लम का मैंने सॉल्यूशन कैसे किया, that will make me developed and some other underdeveloped or developing. Is it clear? So you need to see that there are three central problems. There are three central problems in every economy. Now, what are these three central problems? what to produce and in what quantities, which is the first one. Second problem is how to produce, and third problem is for whom to produce. So let us talk about the first problem first. The very first central problem that is being found in every economy, is what to produce and in what quantities. The very first problem. What to produce and in what quantities. This is the first problem. Now, what to produce means kya produce kare. That means this is the problem of producer, that what he should produce, because there are many commodities available in the economy which I may produce. तो let us divide. क्या हम एक काम करते हैं, हम लोग 3 कैटेगरीज बना देते हैं सारी commodities की. Let us make 3 categories of these commodities. Like if I talk about the first category, let us say the first category is consumer goods. Consumer goods. The second category is producer goods. And the third category is war time goods. So I have made these 3 categories. देखा आपने? I have made these 3 categories that we can go for making consumer goods like bread, consumer goods like आजकल बड़ा famous है च्यवनप्राश for improving or boosting up your economy, your immunity. Then there are various consumer goods that are being found and that are being produced by various producers. Secondly, we can produce producer goods. Producer goods means, for example, I can produce machineries. Engine bana liya, so that that engine will be going and working in the car, automobile, and that would be, you know, ready to run that. Same way, choti machineries bana li, producer goods which will be used by the producers for producing the finished product. अगर bread बनाना है तो of course bread बनाने के लिए a lot of machinery would be in the use, small machinery and a big plant and all. So definitely I need to see that as well. Same way, the third I can produce is wartime goods. है ना? Wartime goods. Wartime goods means, for example, missiles, tanks, other equipments which can be used during wartime. So basically, the producer can produce 3 types of goods, 3 different types of goods: consumer goods, producer goods, and wartime goods. The biggest problem for an economy, the very first biggest problem for an economy is what to produce and in what quantity. Shall I go for producing consumer goods or producer goods or wartime goods? First problem. और उसी के साथ, how much consumer goods? In what quantity producer goods? How much wartime goods? यानी कि I have to make a choice. I, as a producer in economy, I have to make a choice that whether I should go for consumer goods or I should go for producer goods or I should go for producing wartime goods, because all these 3 types of goods have the, you know, proper demand in the economy, timely demand in the economy. So we need to make a choice, because if everybody would be going to produce only consumer goods, then who will produce the producer goods? Who will produce the wartime goods? Then definitely we need to make a choice. So solution क्या निकला? The guiding principle of this problem came out. You should go for producing or choice between at least 2 variety of goods. At least 2. Some of you make the consumer goods as well as producer goods. Or make a choice between producer and wartime. Or make a choice between wartime and consumer. Right? So the very first problem in the very first central problem in every economy that is being faced is that is being faced by every economy is what to produce and in what quantities. क्या produce करें, because we have available option in consumer goods, producer goods or wartime goods. So what should I produce as a producer? Shall I go for the producer goods only, or consumer goods or wartime goods, and in what quantities as well? So I need to make a choice between that. Is it clear? So ultimately, I hope this first problem is clear to all. Please show me a thumb or write in the chat box if it is clear, so that I'll move to the next problem, as first problem is over. Okay, fine. Ambika, Nilima. Okay. Others also it is clear. Shall I move to the next one? Okay. The second problem. The second problem comes out to be the how to produce. How to produce. Very simple problem. कैसे produce करें? What should be the method of production? What should be the method of production? Again, I need to make a choice. Why? Because we have two methods of production, or we have two choices of production. Either I can go for the capital intensive technique, because always we have two techniques by which we can produce the commodities. हमेशा याद रखना. The very first is capital intensive technique. Capital intensive means where there is more use of machineries and less use of labor. That is the first capital intensive technique. Then there comes the second, labor intensive technique. Labor intensive technique means where there is more use of labor and less use of capital, that is machinery. So the second central problem in every economy is how to produce. That means which technique or which method we should opt for production of commodities in our economy. Should we go to capital intensive, where I would be using more capital, that means more machineries I will be using, and I will be using less of the human beings or less of the labor, human power, right? Then I go for the next one, that is labor intensive technique, in which I'll be using more labor and I'll be using less capital or less machinery, right? So ultimately, how to produce is the choice of technique. So the second biggest problem that we people see, that is how to produce. What should be the choice of technique? So according to you, tell me, in India, which technique we shall use? In India, which technique we shall use for production? Very good, Namish. Labor intensive. But Namish, I would like to ask from you the reason also. Namish, I'm unmuting you. Kindly raise your hand. Okay, Namish. I have unmuted you. Kindly tell me that why in Indian economy we shall go for the labor intensive and not for the capital intensive.
Because in country like India there is abundance of labor, but the capital is low.
Okay, so we have abundance of labor in India. Being India isn't, labor is abundance, found in abundance in India. That means labor intensive would be more cheaper. Labor intensive would be more good in India as compared to the capital one. And if I talk about the America, then what you should say?
Capital intensive.
Why?
Because there is opposite situation in America as compared to India. There is lot of capital in USA and labor is quite less.
Yes. So ultimately we can say in India, we can simply say that when we are saying that in India, the labor is, found in abundance, available in abundance, then definitely to create the employment opportunities, we shall go for labor intensive in India. But whereas if we talk about America, then in America, the labor is not easily available because people are already employed there. You will not find labor in abundance there. So definitely they people go for capital intensive technique. All right. So I hope these two central problems are clear to all. The first, what to produce and in what quantities, and the second, how to produce. So I'm unmuting Nilima. You are going to explain me the second problem, how to produce. That what we have studied in this, and what should be the guiding principle to solve this problem, how to produce in as a central problem in our economy. Yes, over to you, Nilima.
So there are two type of technique through which we can solve this how to produce problem, the central problem. In the first technique, it is the capital intensive technique where we use the capital for solving this problem, and the second one is labor intensive technique in which we can use labor power for this solving this problem. In India, we can use this labor power as there is enough labor as compared to the capital intensive technique, and in other countries which are developed we can use capital intensive technique because the labor level is lower as compared to capital intensive
Okay,
technique.
fine. Okay, fine. The same question, how to produce problem, I would like to ask from Vidyanshi. Vidyanshi, over to you. Vidyanshi, unmute yourself, please, from your end, and kindly speak the problem about how to produce.